Peter Chang here, and welcome to part 21 of our SCX-60 CF body build. And in this build we're going to go ahead and install some body posts. Here we have a custom built carbon fiber body post by Speedy Dad, and also we're going to need some 4-43/8" cap head screws to complete this build. And what's interesting is that in this bag we also have some spacers. Spacers I'm going to use are going to be like these metal spacers, and once again the metal ones came from Speedy Dad when I ordered the rear shock tower. He also was nice enough to include these parts as well too. But in the main kit you have like these plastic spacers, but just really happy that Speedy Dad also included this shock tower as well, and this rear carbon fiber body post as well too. So if you're building this part from the kit, you're going to have like a slightly different part than what I'm showing here. You would actually, if you're actually building this from the X Factory kit, you would actually have to cut down your Team Associated SC10 part to fit this on. So you'd actually have to modify SC10 part, and you could either use a Dremel or you could use a sander. I'm just so happy that Speedy Dad actually included this part for me. So I'm going to go ahead and just thread in the cap head to the body post and just make sure that that is nice and secure. And now I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that these aluminum spacers are spaced correctly. And what I'm going to do is just go ahead and just use another set of cap head screws and just go ahead and put those in and screw this on to that spacer there. And what's interesting is that not a whole lot really goes into this step necessarily, but it's just really cool that Speedy Dad's thought out everything through so well in this part. So you take a 4-43/4" cap head screw, and that's the one we're going to just go ahead and thread in there. And at this point I'd also like to point out that I'm really appreciating the Tony screws kit as well, just because it's covering so much of this build for me out already. I don't have to disassemble like another SC10 truck. I could just use readily available spare parts that I already have to build this out. Also, I just want to point out is that there's two ways of thinking about how you screw this part in. I like to screw it in where the kind of like the triangle is facing the rear shock tower. I've also seen other drivers and racers invert this. Once again, there's no incorrect or correct way necessarily. I'm just kind of going ahead and going this direction because the modified SC10 part would go in this similar orientation. However, I've heard at the track where this is a carbon fiber part, and then to minimize damaging the carbon fiber part, you may want to invert it. But once again, it's just personal preference. Really no right or wrong. What's interesting is that this type of truck invites so much experimentation and user tweaking, if you will. I'm just going to go ahead and keep it the way that the manual kind of intended. So I'm just going to go ahead and just go with that same type of build. So once again, whatever I do to the left side, I'm going to go ahead and do to the right side, and it feels really nice and comfortable. It's other parts of this build were kind of like mentally taxing and somewhat challenging, and it's just nice to have a very straightforward part to do. And I'm just going to go ahead and tighten on this end. just making sure that everything is properly seated. Really cool. I'm really digging the way that everything is looking, and I'm really enjoying this build. Everything is looking great so far, and that it is looking really awesome. On the back part of the build, you might just want to just check one thing here. So let me get the camera to zoom in on this, and it's the body post here. So I'm just going to go about 2 or 3 pegs down here, and I'm going to insert the rear body post holder. And if you don't have a plastic piece like I have here, the reason why I put the plastic piece here is so that it lessens the damage to the body rubbing. When you're racing, it might rub a little too much. If you don't have a plastic ring like this, any regular O-ring would work. Just insert it between the body clips and it should look great. Now, next thing we're going to notice is that if you're going ahead and using like your stock body, for example, the actual holes don't line up anymore. With the conversion kit, the SCX-60 CF, the rear posts are actually a little further back. So if you're going to use or intend to use like a stock body or a RTR type body, you're going to go ahead and you're going to need to make 2 additional holes in that body. Also, if you're just painting a body from scratch, you're going to need to either mark those holes before you start painting, or like as some racers do, they actually cut holes and then they start painting. So just remember, the holes on this kit, the body mounting holes in this kit, are actually just a little further back. So in this case, if I stick with the stock body, I will have to go ahead and drill 2 more holes. Thanks for watching, and remember, everything matters.